Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, I am going to teach you how to balance a gimbal with your mirrorless camera. Okay? So, assuming that you just bought a RS4 Mini, you had a Weebill S, Weebill 2, Crane, pretty much all gimbals can be balanced the same way. Few principles that we have to follow, and those are the principles I'm going to teach you today. You're going to install the plate that comes included with the 1/4-20 screw in the bottom. If you have an RS4 Mini, you're gonna have a plate that goes this way, okay? But gets connected through the same way through the 1/4-20 screw, and it goes this way, okay? Once you've got that installed, you're gonna need the gimbal, of course. So once you've got the plate installed, okay, we're going to, on this case, we're going to install the plate using the lever, pushing it back and locking it in place. For RS4s or RS4 Minis, the plate is going to go installed this way, left to right. Okay. So just to identify a couple things on the gimbal, we're going to have a lock at the very top, which allows us to swivel the tilt axis. Then we have one that's the roll. And we have a lock on the left-hand side of the gimbal. That lock is going to allow us to swing clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay, very important. Clockwise versus counterclockwise. Okay, very important. For a zoom lens, we have to determine which focal length we're going to choose. So in this case, I'm going to choose 35 millimeters. If you have a prime lens, then you don't have to worry about that. That pretty much is already resolved. Once I've chosen the focal length, I make sure that I remove any lens caps, add any filters, add any microphones that I may want. Then we're going to continue with the balance. So we're going to be holding the camera with the left hand, releasing the lock with the right, and we're going to tilt it up. Okay. And we're going to use this axis to move the physical arm backwards or forwards. Okay. So if I push it all the way forward, it's going to lean down. If I push this all the way back, it's going to want to lean back. The goal is for this to stay as close as possible, pointing up like that. Okay, we're going to lock it in place so it does not move. And I'm going to rotate it. So show you here this part. So we're going to point it forward, and the goal is for it to stay like this without one holding it. If I let go, it's going to swing. So I'm going to show you. If I push it all the way forward, it's going to come down. If I push it all the way back, it's going to want to go down. We're going to go and start at the very front, so it leans back. And we're going to go by full increments. So if this is at 10, I'm going to go at 9, and that's still back heavy. So I'm going to go by 2 increments. So now I'm at 7, and it's still back heavy. I'm going to go one more at 6, and it's still slightly back heavy. I'm going to go to 5, and 5 seems to be front heavy now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in between 5 and 6, and that seems to level it out. I'm going to lock it in place. Okay. Once I lock it in place, what I'm going to do is just to check my work. I'm going to tilt this up at a 45-degree angle. And if it stays, then we've succeeded and we've found the balance of our tilt. Okay. Next, we're going to go to our roll. And so that we're going to access by releasing the lock. And this is going to allow the gimbal to swivel. And we can tell that it's swiveling to the right. So it's right heavy. So what we have to do is that we have to make this left heavy. So we're going to unlock this axis. For an RS4 and RS4 Mini, you're going to have that axis lock on this arm. And so this arm, you'll be able to move it left and right. For this gimbal, I have it on this arm, okay? So if I push it all the way to the left, it's going to tilt left. If I push it all the way to the right, it's going to tilt all the way to the right. Same idea here. We're going to go by increments, which this one does not have, but the RS4 and the RS4 Mini, they do have increments. So here we're going to go by feeling. We're going to feel the weight right on our finger, and we can feel it. It's right heavy. We're going to push it, pull it a little bit more towards us, and then we see that it's not lifting. Now that's too heavy. We're going to bring it back, and we're going to weigh it out until we can let go of it and it stays by itself. Once it's there, we can lock it in place. Okay, and we lock it. Last one is our pan. A little bit of a complex one, but don't fear it, it's not going to be that hard. Same thing, we're going to unlock the axis here. This is going to swivel. Okay. What I like to do is I like to place this right in front of me. So I'm looking at the screen and this is pointing straight. The gimbal's pointing straight too. And remember what I mentioned about clockwise versus counterclockwise? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock the axis. So this, push it all the way forward and lock it. And we're going to tilt it on this axis. So we're going to use the front leg and we're going to use one of the side legs. We're going to tilt it off to the left. So we're going to do this. Okay. Now we saw that this went counterclockwise. So let's look at it again. It spun counterclockwise, which means if it spins counterclockwise, we have to push the gimbal to the closest number to 0. So if it spun counterclockwise, I'm going to, from number 4, I'm going to go to number 3. And I'm going to lock that in place. And I'm going to try again. Well, that was too easy. Okay, so instead of going from 4 increments, I'm going to try half just to show you the process behind it. But you tilt it, it goes counterclockwise. You want to push it by half increments. Okay, and then tilt it again. We're going to see that it still spins counterclockwise. Okay, now I'm going to go by another half increment. But at the same time, I was noticing one thing, the speed of which this is spinning. So now counterclockwise, oh, so maybe 3 wasn't right. So it spun a little bit. I'm going to go half increment now. So from 3, instead of 2, I'm going to go in between 2 and 3. So half of that. And I'm going to tilt it. And that seems to be well balanced. Okay. So it wasn't 3, it was 3.5. Okay. And once you've balanced it there, the last check I like to do is I like to unlock all the axes. And then I like to position this in its own way. And then I like to do one more, which is balancing on one leg. Something like that. Alrighty, so that was a little silly towards the end, but hopefully you guys found this video very entertaining, but also educational. And hopefully for the next video, I can have a RS4 and RS4 Mini from DJI, and we can balance it. We can talk about some of the sub-menus that gimbal has and how to operate it. Because apart from balancing it, the second part is how to operate it. So until next time, happy shooting. It's been a while since I've done a video, especially this intense. Not like that, not like that. We gotta do it the correct way. And until next time, happy shooting.